again tomorrow.
We didn't bring a gavel, so we're just gonna go ahead and start the meeting, folks. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the special session of Oversight Board for Consolidated Communication Center. And Wednesday, 4th of March, 1:30 PM. We're gonna do roll call for supervisors first. I think there's just the three of us here. So Linda Leyland, Blackhawk County Supervisor.
Rich Gertbach, Blackhawk County Supervisor. Dusty Brown, County Supervisor.
And then
Chris is
Chris
on
Schwartz, County
board.
Supervisor.
great, Chris, thank you.
And Tavis Hall, Blackhawk County Supervisor.
Super. Everybody was able to join then, so that's great. And then we also wanted to just go around the room, I think, and do introductions, self-introductions, so we all know who's in the room. if That's all right. Yeah, this is really for us, and we included that in the meeting, so.
I'm Dwayne Boss with Raycom. We'll call it there.
Jason Morris, I'm with Raycom.
Mindy Benson, Blackhawk County Emergency Management.
Deanna Kobliska, Evansdale Mayor. Judy Flores, Director of Blackhawk County.
Michelle Weidner, Blackhawk County Finance Director.
Karen Showalter, Blackhawk County Auditor.
Scott Becker, Gilbertville Mayor.
I'm Mike Miller. I'm the president of Raycom.
Bob Duncan, Waterloo Police Chief.
Nathan Neff, Blackhawk County Sheriff.
Right, the agenda received as proposed or amended from the supervisors.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. All right, now we move on to the presentation. Mr.
Thank
Malley.
you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invitation and thanks for the IT help getting things all working.
Yes.
And so you can't have a meeting without several PowerPoint slides. So I have 5 or 6 to go through. I always like to tell people how many I'm gonna go through, so it's not death by PowerPoint. So there's not that many slides, and feel free, because you've heard this presentation once or twice, so you'll be able to, correct me when I'm wrong. So a little overview, because, some of you may not know who we are or have met us before. I want to give a little overview of who Raycom is, a little bit of the history of between Blackhawk County and Raycom. To give a little lead into that, we've been doing business together for over 30 years now. And so we have been through, I have been here at Raycom all that time. And I started when I was 4 years old, so. It's 3 different sheriff administrations. Sheriff, I don't know if you knew that, and 6 different Waterloo police chiefs in that time that we've done business together. So a really long time. So it's a real long. We're here to talk about the long-term maintenance for your two-way radio system. And so I'm going to go through some options of that, what you're doing now and what we suggest you do in the future, and answer any questions and determine next steps. A little bit about who we are. I don't know if is there a way to move that little thing on the side? Yeah, okay. So Raycom is just a contraction for radio communications. That's where that name came. It's a family company that my dad started back in 1972. So, we do more than just two-way radios. We do all the technology in the second half of a 911 call. So if anybody in Blackhawk County, God forbid, has to dial 911 today, they pick up their cell phone generally and hit the 9 key, and then your cell phone provider delivers that call to Judy's dispatch center. And then almost all of the pieces of technology from then on, we help you with. The 911 telephone system, the logging recorder that's recording the call, the dispatch console that they're talking on, the 911 telephone system that's answering that. And then, of course, the two-way radio system that is used to dispatch a first responder to the scene of that incident. And so I like to say that if the phone company handles the reliability and delivery of a 911 call to a dispatch center, we help with making sure that call is delivered to a first responder so they can go to somebody's house, place of business, or where an emergency is. So we're the second half of a 911. Okay, nothing there. All right, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me now? All right, awesome. I got too crazy with my fingers on the keyboard. Sorry about that. And so we're not a manufacturer of radio systems. We're an integrator of technology. So all of there are about 50 or 60 different manufacturers of technology that you have in that second half of your 911 call, and all those different pieces that make sure that someone can get to where they're going. And we're an integrator of almost all of those 50 or 60 different pieces of technology. The largest and most visible piece, of course, is the two-way radio, the radio that's on your hip or the radio that's in your car. And so the radios that your first responders are carrying are made mostly by L3 Harris, and we're the largest dealer of L3 Harris radios in the world. We're just a mid-sized company. I think we just passed 250 employees on a nationwide basis. Okay. About 16 different locations, 7 of them are here in Iowa. Of the 250, like I said, about 100 employees in Iowa. 3 years ago, we merged together with a company headquartered in New York City called Eastern Communications. So you may have heard that name before. Now we're the largest non-Motorola radio dealer in the world. And so we do business nationwide. So nationwide, including Alaska and Hawaii. 2 weeks ago, I was in Juneau, Alaska, selling L3 Harris radios. A month before that, I was in New York City. The New York City Police Department, the world's largest police force, is getting ready to buy the same L3 Harris mobile radio as your officers have in their car now. So I talked about this, so I'll run through it quick. We do all I went through quickly all of the different technologies that are in the second half of the 911 call. Here's where we lay it out more specifically. I think that's a picture of the Scott County Dispatch Center. A listing of where we do business, our locations. What's behind that is in your system, both your radio system and your 911 telephone system are constantly monitored 24 hours a day from our network control center in Marshalltown, Iowa. And this is a picture of that. When your first responders have a trouble with their radio system or they need help during the day, they call the Waterloo Service Shop, which is over on Benton Street, just a mile or so away. At 5 o'clock when they leave in the afternoon, they forward those phones to Marshalltown. So there's always a live body answering the call and responding to your needs 24/7. So I wonder if there is a way for us to. Okay, here's a little bit about your radio system here in Blackhawk County. We've, like I said before, we've been your radio provider since 1995. And we really have a long history of partnership and innovation. Maybe you didn't know this, but when you text to the number 911, that's a pretty common thing. If you have a trouble and you're a deaf person or you're in an emergency, you can text to the number 911. And that's a pretty common thing around America. But it wasn't common too many years ago. The very first place in the United States of America that had that capability was right here in Waterloo, Iowa. And so, yeah, kind of interesting, right? And so Judy and I were probably the two only people in the room that was there then, right? But we've had lots of. I was here. We've had lots of those kinds of innovations together over the years. And it's a real honor to me to be able to say that we've had a partnership over like a generation, and so it's really cool to me. And I think it's cool to Judy too, that we've been able to.
Yours was 90.
Yeah. Your most recent radio system award, it says the second, well, their P25 contract awarded was 2015. So we, back in the mid 90s, we took you from your conventional radio system to a trunking radio system. And then in 2015, we took you from an analog trunking system to the newest technology in our industry called P25, digital trunking. And it took almost 3 years to build that system and convert you to it. And so that's the radio system that your first responders use today. And so here is a map of your county, and that laser pointer doesn't work very well, but the tower sites are these little blue dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tower sites provide coverage throughout Blackhawk County. And It does a really good job. The blue area is coverage. That depicts mobile radio coverage, the coverage from your in-car radios. Next one. I hope I didn't nuke them all together. The next one is portable radio coverage. And so the coverage from the lower power portable radio that's on their hip. So when a guy gets out of his car and that's your portable radio coverage. And so over 99% of your county is covered. Really fantastic. The national standard for public safety radio systems is 95%. And so your system, the most important thing about a two-way radio system, probably any of the first responders in the room will tell you, is coverage, coverage, coverage. And so that's one area that we did not skimp on when we built your radio system back in 2015. You have a maintenance contract with us now. That current maintenance contract runs through 2028. We'll talk a great deal about that maintenance contract. You have about a little over 900 radios. You added up all the departments, all those portable radios and all those mobile radios, it's a little over 900 of them. In addition to this P25 radio system, you also have a digital fire paging system. So pagers that your firefighters, volunteer and paid firefighters carry on their hips, that's a separate system that also has 6 sites and they need to be dispatched and deployed. And your radio system is used an awful lot. So I had some reports run over 300,000 times a month. You have some first responder hit and push to talk on their portable or mobile radio.
So they're talking to us, so that's probably the to say.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
Over 900 radios,
Yep.
does that include our county road department? I understand they have radios that talk to the system, but I don't know if those are included.
They're on the system, but I don't know if those radios, I think those are the radios that were purchased and run through our maintenance. Is that correct? Or close to it.
The county roads is on the system,
Right.
but they are purchased by the county roads department, was my understanding. The 911 board did not purchase those radios. So the 900 number should not include the county road department.
So this is a map, a wider map of all of Iowa. And so your system here in Blackhawk County is one piece of a much larger radio system that encompasses the better portion of the eastern side of the state. So if I orient you, right in the middle is Interstate 35, and you can see Des Moines kind of in the middle, and then Interstate 80. All of those blue dots are tower sites. If you counted up all those blue and green dots, all those blue and green dots are tower sites. Be about 110 or 115 of those dots. Every one of the counties where there's dots there is also on the same radio system that you're on. And so you have seamless interoperability if you did a prisoner transport down to North Liberty, or you had your ISAC meeting in Des Moines next week, you'd have coverage on your radio system. And so extended interoperability and coverage with all of those users. This is the largest radio system in Iowa in terms of number of sites and number of users. And most of the largest counties in Iowa use this for their day-to-day radio system. I know that many of you get presentations and heard about the state patrol-owned radio system called ISIX. And so that system is used by some local counties and the state patrol and the DOT. But the bottom bullet speaks for itself. 7 of the 10 largest counties in Iowa don't use ISIX for their day-to-day communications needs. They use this network. And 10 of the 15 largest cities in Iowa. Mostly that's about cost. This has been proven time and time again through RFP to be less expensive, and about local control and autonomy. And so those are probably the reasons why people are picking this network and not that. Every user of our network has interoperability and communication capability with the state patrol when necessary. I assume that the sheriff has to have interoperability with the state trooper on a scene, and we offer that. But they use this network for the day-to-day most of their talking needs. And so one of the reasons people ask me, Mike, why why, if there is a state network out there, why are people choosing not to use it and use this one? And I think this is the chart that speaks to it. So there's two ingredients in a great radio system. And one of them is terrific technology. And you have terrific technology. And by the way, the state ISICS network is also built on terrific technology. It's a standard. It's called P25. It's the second part where we differentiate ourselves. It's the terrific support that we try to wrap that with. Judy will tell you that in 30 years, we haven't been perfect every single time. But we've always been here until it got fixed every single time. And that's how I think you build a 30-year relationship with someone, that sometimes it doesn't matter how great that technology is if it's serviced not very well. And I think we do a good job and pride ourselves to be distinctive there. And so the last couple slides are just about your maintenance. You currently have a maintenance agreement with us that runs through 2028. And so maintenance agreements, what they do is they extend the manufacturer warranty. For example, when you buy a two-way radio, normally it comes with a 2-year warranty from the factory. And so the maintenance contract extends that warranty, and it also covers annual preventative maintenance, where Jason and his guys go out and look at every radio, all 900 of those every year, to make sure they're programmed right and they're up to date, and they have the most current software and things like that. Right now, you're paying us just a little under $500,000 a year for that maintenance. And that increments by about 3% a year, goes up by about 3% a year. One of the things that your maintenance agreement doesn't cover is equipment obsolescence or manufacturer end of life. When the manufacturer stops making a radio, we eventually stop covering on a maintenance agreement, or your radio system, probably the best way to describe it is your radio system is really a wired and wireless IP-based network. Just like the network in this building that we're all communicating with is a wired and wireless IP-based network. This one in your room is called a LAN, local area network. This one that we're talking about is called P25 LAN mobile radio system. And so they're very similar. And so the reason we got talking about this originally, I think we started talking, it's been 9 months ago, Judy, probably, is that there are many pieces of that system, many pieces of that P25 LAN mobile radio system, that wired and wireless IP-based network, that are either at their end of life or will be approaching their end of life in the next few years. And so I've given a few examples. Some of the radios your officers are carrying are already at their end of life. The microwave system and some of your interoperability radios. So there's big pieces. And so what we started talking about is, should we start to budget for the upgrade, replacement, keeping current your P25 radio system, much like I think your IT folks do with your local area network here. They're constantly upgrading switches and servers and routers to posture you well for cybersecurity and cyber defense, to make sure reliability is very good, to make sure you can take advantage of new features. And so that model in your IT realm is exactly what we're talking about in your P25 radio realm that you should think about, for the exact same reasons. And so some of the reasons why locks in by doing that, you can lock in the price now over a long term. You can keep your system at a public safety grade. Historically, our industry, and Mindy, you've seen this before, we wait for something to break and then we rush out in the middle of the night and fix it. And which is no way to run. Your IT people would tell you there's no way to run the computer network, and it's no way to run your two-way radio system either. And so let's build this program in such a way that we keep your robustness of your radio system at a very, very high level. I have lots of officers that tell me, and I'm sure they've told you too, that they have a portable radio on one hip and a gun on the other. They hope to never use this in their whole career, but they use this one 300,000 times a month collectively. So And so here are the numbers, and this is, I think this is the last slide we're gonna talk about. This is the current maintenance contract that you have. 490,000 a year. It increases annually, 3% a year. And if you rolled that out for 10 years, that's how much it would be. That current maintenance contract runs right now through 2028. And so I just made some assumptions about past 2028.
Mike, before we get too far.
Yeah.
That, with that 3% annual increase, could you explain what all is built into that? Did it say it didn't cover actual equipment pieces?
So it covers, your radios, all of the software on your infrastructure. It covers failures of infrastructure. Something breaks at a tower site, we cover that. It covers a certain number of servers and switches, not all of those. But what it doesn't cover is obsolescence. So as an example, your radios now have reached their manufacturer end of life. And so we've contracted with you to cover those through 2028. But after 2028, we probably wouldn't put those on a maintenance contract anymore because manufacturers make them anymore. And if one broke, I can't get parts to fix it anymore. And so that's one example of several pieces in your network that are either at that same place or will be at that place in the near future. So mostly what we're talking about when we're talking about additional monies, and Michelle, you and I have spent lots of emails back and forth about additional monies. It's really about planning for future obsolescence.
I was just thinking, why 3%? Why not just 1% increase year over year?
So, the 3%, I think was just a contract negotiation thing that we did years and years ago. And it was meant to, at the time, represent cost of living. So, and, probably when we negotiated, 3% was a pretty good number for cost of living. Whether that is now or not is something that, we should probably negotiate again. And so the second two pieces, I'll just talk about number 2, infrastructure replacement financing. This is upgrading, replacing, keeping current all the pieces of infrastructure in your radio system that will either are at end of life now or we anticipate will be at end of life sometime in the next 1 to 10 years. And so, and we gave 2 ways to finance that replacement. One, an annual payment that increased by 3% a year, and one as a one-time purchase price. And so the first numbers on the top in bold are, my laser pointer isn't very good, is if you made an annual payment, how you would guarantee that infrastructure replacement. And if you decided to pay for it all up front, that's the one-time purchase price. And so there are a lot of assumptions built in there about exactly what pieces of equipment and exactly what years we make those investments. And Michelle, that's the spreadsheet I sent you earlier this week. So you have all of that. So that's the infrastructure piece. The number 3 below is your radios. Most of your radios that your folks are carrying are at their end of life now. And so those 900 plus radios, and it's broken down 672 portable radios and 253 mobile radios. You could buy those and finance them with an annual payment over 10 years, and they start at $475,000 a year and it increases. Or you could buy them all up front and pay a little less than $4.7 million for those 900 radios. Take a breath and answer questions.
How much additional is that on the radio replacement if you do the annual, that 3% annual increase on there? I don't know if you've done that.
I haven't done that, Matt, but it is some extra. Yes, it is some extra. And so I think in the assumptions, Sheriff, that we made, what the assumptions I sent Michelle is the radios probably need to be replaced this very soon. And so we made the assumption that the radios will get replaced in the first year. And so it probably is less expensive if you had the money or you bonded for the money to pay for the radios up front, because you'd get them in the first year and you wouldn't have finance charges and those kinds of things.
You're talking adding 15,000 per year.
Yes, yes. Yeah, good question.
Tin cans for Christmas. How's that?
In a long string? Yeah. Tin cans and a long string. So anyway, what we tried to give you here is one annual price to guarantee all this, or to do an upfront buy price for these equipment financing pieces, numbers 2 and number 3. And your maintenance contract sort of goes along at about that level. It would probably change some. In fact, if you bought new radios in the first year, the maintenance contract would actually go down because you have brand new radios with factory warranty on them. So I didn't calculate that in because I didn't know when you do that, but there is some probably net savings if you bought the new radios on the maintenance contract for that reason.
And you would still do a trade-in on our old radios.
Yes, we can do a trade-in. And I don't know that I figured, did we figure a rate in this price? There's,
No, it's not in there right now yet.
yeah. But we did have that discussion and we can negotiate a trade-in for some of those radios. Yeah. Like we did the last time.
We did it every time.
Mike, can you explain, so after 28, the radios that we have, then what would happen? Like, let's say we didn't do anything.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they start to break, what's gonna happen?
So this has happened with other customers, and they're kind of, I'll call it, kick the can down the road a while.
We've done
And it
that.
just gets to the point where there is no financial model for us to keep those on a maintenance contract. It would be like, some drivers, you just can't get car insurance anymore, and so we wouldn't provide an insurance contract on the reliability of those radios. So you could still use them and they'd still work until they didn't, and then you'd have to buy new. So,
Typically, what's the life expectancy of portable radios?
7 to 10 years. Yeah.
And that'd be at 10, wouldn't it? 28 is 10 years?
28.
Yeah.
We're at
That's
8
what we
now.
got out of our first one.
7 to 10 years.
They got all new radios 10 years ago. Everybody got new ones 10 years ago. So
Yes,
we're not on a rotating schedule. We're all in.
correct.
Yeah, because we were changing
I'm
technology.
just curious.
Yeah, we were changing technology and they wouldn't talk to each other.
Yeah. And so on a portable radio, of course, they need new batteries sooner than every 7 to 10, every 2 or 3, they'll need a new battery, but the radio, so, 7 to 10 is pretty standard across the industry.
The portables themselves was it about $5,000 each?
Dwayne,
That's
on the price of a portable radio?
Yeah, they can vary based on the model of the radios, but you guys have $4,000 or $5,000 portable. Yeah.
Radios of this type, kind, and technology, I don't know, very high 3,000s to some brands, makes and models go as high as 11 or 12,000 a piece. And so there's a pretty wide range, but they're all very expensive pieces of equipment.
This is Supervisor Schwartz. If there is a trade in value on these, just kind of help me understand where there's a market for our used radios, if you're saying that they are kind of at the end of their life. And
Yeah, most of the time, sir, there is not much market for these kind of used radios. And so most of the time we negotiate with our manufacturer partners to lower our buy price of that radio to give you a trade-in value so that they sell more radios. And so it's not like we're out trying to resell those on eBay or something like that. Most of the time when this happens, we'll take the radios back, we ship them to the factory and they destroy them. That's frankly what happens. You can go to eBay now and type in your model of portable radio, XG75, and there'd be plenty of people selling them. But it's like 50, 75, $100 or something like that. There's not a big secondary market for them. Did I answer that one?
yes, thank you.
Yep.
You think my grandkids could use them, like to play walkie-talkie back and forth?
I've got string works.
That's a,
Don't connect them to
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
That's why the string.
Boxes of them, I'll give it to you right now.
Cell phone without
New
a,
talk,
Right.
Judy.
without a provider.
Believe me, we've had little kids get a hold of the radio and they've been on the, you know.
Hello?
Kids got your radio.
I think this is my last slide. So I'm here as long as you want to answer as many questions.
I was gonna say, Michelle, if you got any questions or any information that I think would be helpful as well, I know the field has been communicating quite a bit.
Yeah, my interest in financing it was it fit within budget constraints, which often means to me something. I mean, we just don't have the capacity in our normal operating budget to fund it. So if we purchase outright and then we can use bond money and use debt service levy, that's how it was done, 7 years ago. I think it's probably a reasonable option for us again to do that. So yeah, Mike and I have been talking. He did send me some information about what that looks like on the infrastructure piece. That's a little more tricky. And we probably have more discussions to
Well, on the rate,
figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Because we probably just want to figure out what we need to buy at what times.
Well, that was gonna be my question, all at once or? through the
No,
couple
the
years?
infrastructure, I think Mike would probably agree. It probably doesn't make sense to try to buy that all at once. Because things are wearing out at different times is what I'm understanding.
yeah, so we made, in that infrastructure piece and I'll point to the 7.79 million
Yep.
piece.
Right.
We made some assumptions or educated guesses on when we believe manufacturers will be end of lifing certain pieces of equipment. And so of that 7 million, there's about a little over 1 that needs to be done right now. And then we went out to year 5, and then there's another 3.5 million and then to year 7, another 3+ million that needs to be done then. And so those are probably pretty good guesses. And so I guess if the question is, could I just do the 1 right now and then I'll do the 3 later and then I'll do the next 3 later? You could. It's hard for me to say if you can't commit to now, it's hard for me to commit to that price in the future. And I mean, that's probably an understandable
Certainly.
trade-off.
Yep. And the million, when you say now,
In the next
infrastructure-
year,
okay,
And so I think I sent you like Judy's dispatch center has 10 dispatch console
Right.
positions that probably need to be placed.
I was just trying to get, since the radios themselves hopefully don't become really discontinued for another couple of years. I wondered where the million fit into that. Almost sounds like that may be a more urgent thing.
So the infrastructure is a sort of separate decision from the radios. Your radios work fine now. And I have a maintenance contract on those for the next couple of years.
Yep,
And so I'm the one that's on the hook for fixing those at
I
this point.
appreciate that.
And so now, if you said we have a higher level of failure than is acceptable to us or that we want, it might make sense to buy them now. Then you could lower your maintenance contract a bit because of the factory warranty that you'll get. And so that $490,000 in maintenance would go down some. And so that might be one reason to do it. But yeah, your radios work now. They work on the system. They're gonna, this isn't like a complete change out of your system. This is just making sure your system stays reliable and new and viable, cyber sensitive, protected, and all those kinds of things over the long term. So I heard some people talk about, well, this is just like going to an RFP for a brand new radio system. It's not like that at all. We're not changing that radio system out.
Well, that brings up a good question. What is not changing?
Yeah. Well, over time, your tower sites themselves, the buildings that they're in, the generators that are at those buildings. And so, there's lots of pieces of your infrastructure that, stay there. Yeah.
Because that's the thing I'd like to know more of is what is the immediate need timeline and how we can piece this all together.
Yeah, I sent exactly what you're asking for to Michelle. Like, here's the stuff we assume really should be done more urgently versus the things that we think manufacturers aren't going to end the life for a few years yet. And so,
What's that manufacturing warranty? You know what that's gonna be good for?
so
Is it very-
like when I was talking about the radio manufacturer warranty, yeah, I mean, that's like manufacturer defects or, break fix things. It doesn't cover if,
We run over it.
yeah, those kinds of things.
2 years.
So on radios, typically, the radios themselves is generally a 2-year warranty. On the infrastructure, like the dispatch consoles, it's generally
They're not here right now.
for the repeater equipment at a tower site, that's generally 1 year.
Yeah.
And we, when you buy new infrastructure, consoles, radios, we sort of increment your maintenance contract up and down to accommodate for that.
It's their end of life, end of life. You're Band-Aiding, you're Band-Aiding them a lot.
Make sure I'm tracking. So what is being replaced, portables, mobiles, dispatch center consoles,
Yeah.
things on, around, or about the vicinity of the tower.
Yeah, so I'll just read off a few of them for you. So the dispatch consoles, the core, you have like a core computer that sort of is the controller of the whole network.
I get
All
that.
your interop radios, the radios that allow you to communicate with state patrol or DOT, on people on ISICs primarily, but other VHF systems that might be around you. Your fire paging system is another thing that would get replaced in this. Those are the items of infrastructure that we assumed are the most urgent to be done, now. And then a few years out, all your battery plants. Your radio system is really, it's not just like an AC that you plug into the wall. It runs on a battery, and then the batteries are plugged into commercial power. So those DC plants, wear out after a while. And so those would be replaced several years out. The radio repeaters themselves would get replaced several years out. All the lines and antennas on the tower would be replaced 7 years out. And if you go out even farther than that, you get another replacement of dispatch consoles 7 or 8 years in the future. Those are some of the shortest lived pieces of equipment on your system. And your microwave, the microwave radio backhaul that on the tower that connects one tower to the other and back to the core, that would be replaced. So those are the sort of the big chunks. But the first 4 were like and Justin, I can certainly send you this, or Michelle can send you this too. So you have the numbers but those first 4 would be the most immediate ones.
So what was it, iKicks or I6, what that state uses for the radio? Is that why we can't have direct comms with them now? And we gotta go through dispatch?
Well,
There's something that goes on.
and you actually, don't they have gateways between your P25 system and I6 now?
Yeah, we have
For a lot of the channels, yes.
tax 60 something, typically we'll be able to communicate. We just did it out in Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're about,
If they do patches, we lose our encryption thing.
They do have a couple encrypted channels. The meeting I was at on Thursday, there's like 3, if you look at their channel list, the bottom 3, all across the state are encrypted that we could connect you to it. And I think
You have them in your consoles there.
so that we can, that way we're not unencrypting. So that is open to us now as well. So.
there's about 40 or 50 different ISICs talk groups that are directly connected to your radio system. So these 40 or 50 different channels on your radio that you can directly communicate to an ISICs user. And so, and those are the 40 or 50 most used channels on ISICs. So, yeah, you should be able to communicate most of the time, state sleeper users, without the need for a patch from dispatch.
News to me.
Yeah, we just, so the incident at Fairbank, where a bunch of our TAC guys went up there. And everybody just switched over to, I think it was TAC 62 or 61 or something like that.
Like that, yeah.
On like the B bank. And you communicate perfectly with the state.
Same thing we do when we work events at UNI, we've got a channel with them now that. Switch
Now,
over.
you're right, Brandon. You know, when they first went live with ISIX and, you know, with our system, it was hard to communicate. It took us several years to be able to fix those issues, but it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking ISIX, I would obviously, instead of spacing this out, then it would be a complete switch over to pretty much everything.
Everything all at
And
once.
we'd be at the mercy of the state for what they wanted to charge us. We wouldn't have our own.
I've had enough state mercy for one term.
And they
No.
take the system down regularly and there's no, you can't say, well, that doesn't work for me. They send a notice out and say the system's going down in your region at this time on this day.
9 to 1 on a Tuesday. Use your cell phone.
Yep.
Yeah. So that when I was talking about like you need great technology, but you also need great customer centered, customer focused service. And that's where I think we're a lot better than them in that regard. So that's, yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people choose us.
How late you work till last night, Jason?
I got home about 11 o'clock last night.
We work with our fire guys, so.
Out of 2008, they slept in our server room when we had the waters coming in. They brought cots and they slept right in my server room, making sure that they did not, our center didn't go down. That's customer service.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Most of our upgrades, I mean, they'll come in at 4 in the morning to make sure it gets done in that 4 to 6 window when there's knock on wood and not as much going on, so.
Yeah, we were customers, I was with Tama County prior to coming here and we were signing on with them prior to, and the derecho came through in 2020. We lost a communications tower and we went live with Raycom right before the derecho came through and you guys came through for us at a moment's notice. I worked my tail off to get onto the system and I cannot say enough about working with Raycom prior to that and knowing that I came up here and this is where it kind of all started and why we came on board with them. It's reassuring to know that they're here, they have a solid core, they have a solid foundation in Eastern Iowa. I can sleep well at night knowing that responders have this foundation here. We don't have to worry about it.
Polk County and Blackhawk County in about 1995 were the first 2 counties in Iowa that we sold onto this trunking technology. So, and Polk County is still a customer as well.
Typically, when you look at those big projects, obviously you look at it as a new project, whatever. I think it's important to look at this as an update / upgrade, not necessarily as buying a new
Whole
product.
ERP system.
Yes.
Any questions, any? I know for us, I suppose since you're working with Michelle, if we have any questions, we let Michelle know where we directly, but I know as well.
Is there anything that we need to do as far as myself or any of our consolidated board members that need to assist with, with the board of supervisors? Is there anything that we can do to?
And I apologize, to starting the meeting too, that when this started, I know Justin brought it to our attention and it was kind of like the supervisors wanted more information on it, obviously. And we wanted to include everyone. And, I think I didn't even think about it then as we started the meeting that, the mayors here are part of this board as well. So like I said, I want to recognize, them that are present and introductions were great, but I was going to say that they are here as part of this board as well. It's important. So any questions, comments, or anything input, please.
I think it's pretty good that you're like getting ahead of the game. You're looking at not
Not just one kid.
obviously 27, 28 budget year stuff, so. It's at least a little bit of time to soak it all in.
Yeah, the next step would be, we probably need to generate some alignment on the things that we think are the biggest priority items. And if we said, okay, yeah, Mike, I agree with you that, the radios and these 4 pieces of infrastructure are those, then we should probably say, okay, let's get a final price on those. Like, is there a trade-in that you want to take advantage of? Let's figure that into this price. What will that do to the maintenance contract in terms of lowering it because you'll be getting new radios with factory warranty? What will that do? And so that might be a right next step, and that may be a smaller subset of people that Judy would be a part of, and I'd be a part of. Michelle, you would be a part of, I'm sure.
Even selecting the specific radios.
Specific radios, we made some assumptions there, yeah.
Yeah, I think that timeline that you talk about is critical, and then the pieces that you said, they're kind of movable or mobile, I guess, in it, when you talk about negotiating, as Justin mentioned, increase, 3% or whatever the increases are, and those types of things, so that we don't get further down the road and find out things we should have done, but some type of timeline that we need to.
Okay.
One thing you need from us right now that you.
No, I think I have clear direction.
Blank check.
I bet you get asked that 3-4 times a day.
Yeah.
You don't just sign it.
Yeah, right.
Remember those tin cans?
And that's coming from the sheriff's department specifically.
But we have Harris right now. Where are those manufactured,
So they are manufactured, a lot of them are manufactured in Rochester, New York, Lynchburg, Virginia, and there is some overseas manufacturing as well. But yeah.
Well, thank you very much for taking time to come up and visit with us on this. I'm glad it worked out that we kind of had this initial need more information. I think it was a lot more than we had. Some of us, maybe, I know those of you who've sat in these meetings before. The first we heard of it, so it was great to
This same
start.
the same plan of doing this over a long period of time has become a lot more common in our industry, both for people who have L3 Harris radio and for people who have Motorola radios too. So your neighbors in Lynn County are have a program just exactly like this. Johnson County does as well. Iowa County and Marengo does as well. If you are a Motorola customer on the i6 network, Dallas County, Iowa has the same kind of program as well. And so planning for future obsolescence is something that's become a lot more common and required as these systems have gotten more connected to the internet and more reliant on server switches and routers to develop a need for this. It used to be back in the day when you started in this industry, Judy, you plug your radio system in and you don't have to touch it for 10 years, so it's just not like that anymore.
Yeah.
On that first lift for the county too with this, like I said, it was exceptional. I came with a heavy price tag. And I said, so it was a big lift for the taxpayers as well as for all of us that had to work toward it. So it's nice to have a timeline, a goal, and see where we can work out and still have a great system. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
What?
Motion to adjourn.
No, well, just a second. I was gonna say, I didn't know if Justin or Judy wanted to at least mention to the group as far as not, I know to you gentlemen probably, but just kind of as a matter of business of something, a possible date to get together on another issue later this month or.
If we can, within the next couple of weeks. It's with regard to our software project and some potential litigation. And so we would like to just keep the board of supervisors and the mayors aware of what is going on. So be careful what I say, because we'll need to go into a closed session.
We'll just kind of maybe do a doodle poll or something, try to get some
I
dates,
think
but maybe.
Brandon put some dates out. I don't know, you suggested some, did I see that?
Yeah, he did have some.
Okay, yeah. So maybe if possible, in the next couple of weeks would be great.
And it doesn't have to align with any particular meeting you've
No.
got, so yeah.
No.
Okay. Let's see what
Because
works
Wednesday or
good.
Thursdays kind of. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys putting this meeting together. Listening to Raycom.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, we have a motion for adjournment?
One more thing.
Oh.
Last thing I promise. The current system that we have, the portables, $5,000-ish a piece. Per unit cost for the next set of radios. What are those gonna be?
I think that's the.
That is that price, Justin.
That is the
Yeah.
number that we have.
So
Yeah, that's a $4,000 or $5,000 portable. That's the model we chose. There are some, there is a higher tier model
Yeah,
yet. And so, in that talk negotiation, and some of you say, well, we want this model for these reasons, or no, we want this model versus the one we chose. That could change that price a little bit.
okay, I just didn't know if 10 years ago, if it was $5,000. And then we're at 2027,
Oh.
getting new radios and it's also $5,000, same features, something doesn't add up with that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what the price of the radios
So
was.
either we got a
10
heck of a
years.
deal.
Yeah, I don't know what the price of the radios was 10 years ago, Mike, but,
Our industry has found an amazing way to keep raising the price on electronic equipment, like amazingly so. Like
I
would,
think it was between 3,000 and 3,500, but I might be wrong.
Exactly, yeah.
I hear people that are paying $10,000 or $12,000 for their portable radio. And, 10 years ago, you would have never heard a number anywhere close to that number. But, the radios do a lot more. They have the ability to connect to the Starlink satellite network and to cellular telephone when you have no coverage. But still, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
So,
Two-man cars, if that's the case.
yeah.
Take it out of your paycheck.
That's even more expensive.
One radio per pair. So I had.
Call box on the corner.
There you go.
Wayne.
Now you're talking.
The fireman, it's intrinsically,
Yeah.
I can never say. it.
Motion to adjourn.
Right, and those are still, they would still need those for
Yeah,
like
we
water
never say
submersible.
second.
Yeah.
if they come and.
All in favor, say aye.
And that is the case.
I know firemen, but. Maintenance.
Yeah.